and final race here for the Super Cups at Oulton Park. We've got Jack Harding and Luke Herbert battling it out, but they're all the way down in P5 and 6. We do have the championship contender here, Jack Harding. Jack, what's your thoughts going into this race?
Stay out of trouble, stay near Luke. Worst case scenario, if I finish just behind him, that's still not bad on the points. I'm not going to try anything too risky, but yeah, it's going to be interesting trying to get through these lot, especially with Baldwin's on the front row.
Yeah, that's going to cause a bit of a hassle, I think.
Yeah, it is, but we'll do our best. See if we can come through. It'd be nice to be on podium again.
Well, this is going to be quite the race, I think. Simon and James Blake Baldwin sharing the front row together, ahead of Carl Garnett and Aidan Hills. Luke Herbert and Jack Harding, 4 points apart in the title, and they start on the third row together, ahead of James Harris and Colin Bysouth. Then it's Sam Tatler and Will Stacey, Nick Dunn and Christian White. Johnny Greensmith from the pit lane to 13th in race 1. A real standout performance. The 24-car grid about to do battle around the Oulton Park International circuit for the full 20 minutes this time. We made good time as the day has gone on, and we should get the full race in this time. So the lights go out, away we go. James Blake Baldwin from the outside of row number 1 will take the lead down towards turn number 1. We're on board with Luke Herbert though, who's trying to find a gap on the inside of Carl Garnett. It doesn't quite work. Oh, there's contact there for Jack Harding and Colin Bysouth, and Harding ends up out on the grass. Now, that's not good news for the championship leader, the new championship leader. He's still on the grass going down the avenue as well. He's all out of shape. Oh, Jack Harding! Jack Harding off on the grass. Where's he going to be joining the track? Right in the middle of the pack. Cars scatter everywhere, and that could have been a huge drama for Jack Harding. It's not been a great start to the race. Look at this, he's mired in the midfield now. Cars to the left, cars to the right. He's fighting for position, and Jack Harding in all sorts of trouble, will lose 2 more places. He's back with Johnny Greensmith all of a sudden. Johnny Greensmith on the grass though. Jack Harding, having none of that, gets his place in line. But for the championship leader, that was the worst start possible. He got into a bit of fisticuffs with Colin Bysouth going into the first corner, and then for some reason found himself edged onto the grass going down the avenue, and it all kicked off from there. So Jack Harding in big trouble, and there are now several cars between himself and this man, his championship rival Luke Herbert, who is attacking Carl Garnett for 4th position going over the hill. Down towards the braking zone they go. Aidan Hills goes second, look ahead of Simon Baldwin as he goes in pursuit of James Blake Baldwin, but Luke Herbert in 5th position, so he has held position because it was a top 6 grid reversal. In theory, that was really the best possible outcome for the grid reversal for Jack Harding and Luke Herbert, because they didn't lose that many positions. They weren't stuck right in the midfield, but for Jack Harding, he well and truly is stuck in the midfield as they come up through Druids for the first time. Aidan Hills then into 2nd place, Simon Baldwin in 3rd position. But what progress can Luke Herbert make here? He needs to try and get as many cars between himself and Jack Harding as possible. Down towards Lodge they go, and you can see Herbert there in 5th. I reckon 9th position for Jack Harding, so there are 4 cars between them, but Jack will immediately be on the case trying to get some of those places back. I don't think in any of that he had any significant contact. There shouldn't be any damage to the car, so he should still be able to make ground. Luke Herbert, though, also making ground, goes up the inside of Carl Garnett and takes 4th place away, or does he? Carl tries to fight back on the exit of the corner, was always going to get shown the edge of the road, as indeed is the case, and so through goes Luke Herbert. Now that's another car between himself and his championship rival. This championship continuing to ebb and flow, but Jack Harding going around the outside of 2 cars at Cascades, finds a way past Will Stacey and Sam Tatler. 2 positions gained in 1 there for Jack Harding. Great driving. He is a man on a mission. The red mist fully descended now for the championship leader as he tries to get back on terms with his big title rival. He's going around the outside of James Harris now as well. 3 positions gained in 2 corners, and all of them on the outside line, and they are 2 of the most daunting corners in British motorsport. Phenomenal driving this from Jack Harding. There is now only 1 car between himself and Luke Herbert, so rewind half a lap, there were 5 positions between the 2 of them, and all of a sudden they're almost within touching distance again. There is no separating Jack Harding from Luke Herbert in the 2018 title race, and we are loving it because this is turning into one of the most intense championship battles this championship has ever seen. Luke Herbert ahead of Jack Harding by now only 1 position, because Jack Harding is scything through the field. He's back ahead of Carl Garnett now. The next man in his sights, and I did not think I'd be saying this a lap ago, is Luke Herbert Herbert in 4th position. So on board with Luke in that 4th place, chasing down Simon Baldwin as we go over Clay Hill. In front of us, by the way, it's easy to forget that there's another race going on here. James Blake Baldwin and Aidan Hills, they are getting closer together for the race lead as well. Aidan Hills, remember, still looking for his first ever race victory in the championship. He's had this myriad of podium finishes, 7 podium finishes this year, but yet to take a race victory, and he's right on the tail now of the race leader. There is the fight between Simon Baldwin and Luke Herbert, and Luke Herbert could do with getting past Simon Baldwin fairly swiftly here to A, go after the leading 2, and B, try and keep a bit of distance between himself and the unstoppable Jack Harding. Herbert goes to the outside down towards Oulton Corner, sells the dummy exactly as he did to Carl Garnett, and he makes that move stick fairly easily, actually. So Luke Herbert goes into the podium positions now. 3rd place for Luke, as we're on board with Aidan Hills in 2nd place. Now, James Blake Baldwin has not had a particularly stellar weekend this weekend. A best finish of 4th. He's had a 4th and a 5th in the 2 first races. This hasn't always been his best track, it must be said, and that has continued to be the case this weekend. Aidan Hills, for my money, is quicker. He's been able to close in on the race leader and the former champion, but now can he find a way through? That's not been the easiest thing to do this weekend. Overtaking at the front of the field, at least, has been rather tricky because everyone is so evenly matched and it is a difficult place to overtake. No one, of course, has told Jack Harding that because he's been able to overtake pretty much everybody in the course of 2 or 3 laps. And look at that, he's onto the tail now of Simon Baldwin as they turn into the Britain chicane. Back with Aidan Hills in 2nd place, chasing down the race leader. Both of them fairly equally matched off the Britain chicane, though, an overhill top. So Aidan not quite able to make the move stick, I don't think, yet. He's close on the brakes, but not close enough to go up the inside. Carl Garnett there in 6th. James Harris 7th, ahead of Sam Tatler in 8th position. But Jack Harding turns his way now through his lops. He, again, a bit like Luke Herbert, won't want to spend too long stuck behind Simon Baldwin. Aidan Hills doesn't want to spend any time stuck behind James Blake Baldwin. He's attacking now for the race lead as they go over the top of Clay Hill. He's on the outside line, though, for Druids Corner, but Aidan Hills is not one to shy away from around the outside manoeuvre. We've seen it several times this year, and that was a peach of a move. There's a bit of paint traded on the exit of the corner, but Aidan Hills around the outside at Druids Corner, that takes some real guts, and Aidan Hills has the race lead. What it has done, though, is held the pair of them up slightly and brought Luke Herbert onto their tail. So Luke Herbert now has a chance to move through into 2nd position, maybe. And every car that he can get between himself and Jack Harding gets more championship points, but more importantly, it gives him a bit of a buffer, a bit of time before Jack Harding arrives on his tail, and he goes to the inside of James Blake Baldwin now. Fantastic move. Luke Herbert goes 2nd, Jack Harding goes 4th. Both of the Baldwins lose a position instantaneously to a different championship contender, and Harding, that was a really crucial manoeuvre because there was a bit of a gap that had opened up between these 3 at the front of the field and the 4th place battle that Jack Harding was part of. Well, now Jack is in 4th place, he's got clear air in front of him, and he might just be able to chase down the leading 3. Now Luke Herbert, how long will it take him to get past Aidan Hills? This is, of course, assuming that he can get past Aidan Hills, which is certainly not a given. Luke Herbert in behind the number 8 car as it drops down in towards the braking zone at the Shell hairpin. Now, these 2 are teammates, but Aidan Hills, who's come so close to winning races on so many occasions this year, surely is not going to simply wave his teammate through. If Luke Herbert gets a genuine run on him and he's able to get through, then Aidan has told me that he'll show him a bit more respect maybe than he would show some other drivers out there. But he still wants to win a race, and what would you do to win your first race in a championship as competitive as the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup? Down towards Hislop chicane they go again. Aidan Hills really defending hard though, and you can see it's slowing the pace down. Everyone's getting stacked up together, and the championship fight is going on right at the head of this group as well. There goes Carl Garnett in 5th position, as we're on board with James Blake Baldwin in 3rd place. And behind us, miraculously, is Jack Harding after that abysmal first half a lap or so, and he's on to turns with the podium finishes, and more importantly, almost on turns with his championship rival. He too tries the outside manoeuvre at Druids, decides better of it though, but the top 4 cars inches apart as they drop underneath the Paul Warwick Bridge and down towards the braking zone at Lodge Corner. Aidan Hills knows this is a place where he could be vulnerable, so he moves over to the inside, defends the position. But the trouble for everyone behind is that, yes, they're all trying to attack the car in front, but they've also got someone on their tail. Look at this queue of cars at the front of the field. It's 6 cars at the moment, stretching back to Carl Garnett in 6th place, but with every corner it's going to get bigger. Up the inside looks Luke Herbert going for the race lead, but there isn't room. He can't find a way through, and by virtue of going in on the tight line, he could be a bit slow on the exit of the corner. Doesn't look like it though. He stays on terms with Aidan Hills as they drop down the hill through the right-hand kink at Denton's in towards Cascades Corner. Carl Garnett in the background there, looking to the outside of Simon Baldwin for 5th position. But this is turning into a fantastic third race of the weekend. Reverse grid races always produce drama, and in a field of this sort of quality, you can guarantee the action. Down the lakeside straight they go, in towards the very quick left-hander at Island Bend. And Luke Herbert with a good run through there. Oh, Will Stacey's off the road, and hopefully will avoid the barriers. Yes, he will. Will Stacey, who can't seem to buy any good luck this season, and just when he starts to be coming back to his best, and finds himself off the road, he just started to make a move, I noticed, on James Harris in the background, and he was well and truly a part of this leading group of cars that's growing longer by the corner, it would seem. Out of Britons they go, back over Hilltop again. James Blake Baldwin here in this breathless race, running in 3rd position, but Luke Herbert again starts to stick his nose out of line, starts to attack for the race lead. Hard to overtake though down at Hislop, so all of the cars capable of braking at more or less the same position. Aidan Hills so far doing a good job of defending the race lead. This is such a tricky position for Aidan though, because he will not want to influence the championship fight too much, but he still wants to get that first victory, and he's come so close on so many occasions that he wouldn't be able to live with himself if he just handed over the keys to a race victory here for Luke Herbert. He is going to do everything he can, I'm sure, to fend them off, but you do sense that maybe his time in the race lead is limited, because Luke Herbert is all over him. So too is James Blake Baldwin, and so too is Jack Harding, who, as the driver at the back end of this queue, can go to the outside line into Lodge Corner, knowing that he's not going to get attacked by the car behind. And what a move that was around the outside of James Blake Baldwin at Lodge Corner, and he takes 3rd place away. He is now right back with his championship rival. Up towards Old Hall Corner they go. Luke Herbert looks from the inside. Almost a collision there with Aidan Hills, but that will surely compromise his exit speed. Jack Harding gets the run down the avenue, tries to draw alongside. Outside, inside, still no way through. And Luke Herbert hanging on to the 2nd place, but by the skin of his teeth. Jack Harding goes to the outside again. There's contact between the top 2 in the championship. Wing mirrors go flying, but they both survive more or less in one piece. This cannot last, surely. I spoke in race 2 about pressure cooker races. This is the ultimate pressure cooker. There are so many drivers right on top of each other, and with the championship fight going on in here as well, between the cars running 2nd and 3rd in the race. Remember, only 4 points separate them in Jack Harding's favour coming into this race, but Luke Herbert, if things finished as they are now, and I very much doubt they will, he would take 2 extra points out of Jack Harding, and crucially, Luke Herbert also at the moment has the fastest lap of the race, and with everybody now so closely bunched together, it seems unlikely that that's going to be beaten. So Luke Herbert, if he can take the fastest lap, that's worth another 2 points. If things finished as they are now, guess what? They'd be tied on championship points again with just 2 rounds to go. Luke Herbert up the inside of Aidan Hills, still can't make the move work, but now Luke has to be that extra bit careful because he's got a big championship rival behind him. Goes up the inside into Nicker Brook. That's not an overtaking opportunity, and Luke Herbert realised it, backed out of it, but he's really slow off the corner as a result. He's backing up Jack Harding though, and James Blake Baldwin could take advantage. This is not what Jack Harding needs. James Blake Baldwin alongside, going over Clay Hill. He'll have the inside line for Druids. Can Jack Harding hang on? He really needs to try and hang on, and he does hang on. Fantastic stuff there from Jack Harding, who really got balked then by Luke Herbert, who'd had a go for the race lead. It didn't work, he lost momentum, and it was nearly Jack Harding who came off worse. Jack is furiously waving at James Blake Baldwin, saying, work with me, don't try and race me, because the top 2 are going to escape off into the distance if you start doing that. We may as well work together and both have a go at getting past them. Well, Luke Herbert at the moment is having a go at getting past Aidan Hills for the race lead. He pulls to the outside line, down towards Old Hall Corner. This is a risk that he doesn't really want to be taking, but what other choice does he have? He tries to go right around the outside of Aidan Hills, who puts him on the grass. Contact between the teammates, and Jack Harding is there in a flash. He takes advantage and moves into 2nd place, and Jack Harding, you never would have thought this would be the case at the start of the race, but he's back ahead of his championship rival. Jack Harding in 2nd place, Luke Herbert down to 3rd, and he will not be happy with that. Aidan Hills was having none of that. Luke Herbert tried the outside manoeuvre into Old Hall Corner, He knew it was fraught with risk. If Aidan Hills didn't leave him room on the exit, he was always likely to end up on the grass, and that is exactly what happened. So, packed out into Shell in what has arguably been the race of the season so far, if nothing else, just because of the championship implications here in this titanic fight between Jack Harding and Luke Herbert, and somehow through it all, it is Jack Harding who at the moment is standing on top, set to extend his or at least hold the championship lead, because at the moment they would score exactly the same amount of points as a result of Luke Herbert's fastest lap points. But if Jack Harding can win the race and get a car between himself and Luke Herbert, then he would further extend this very slender championship lead. So, deep breath everyone, we're still only about 3/4 of the way through this race and I'm already struggling for breath. There's Johnny Greensmith, who's just ahead of Sam Tatler, just behind James Harris. So this means this is, by my reckoning, about a 9-car fight for the race lead. Right at the front of it is where the real pinch point is, with Jack Harding and Luke Herbert inches apart, as has been the case on so many occasions this season. Well, out of Druids they go, back down towards Lodge Corner, and Jack Harding, now you see, he daren't go to the outside into Lodge, because he knows that Luke Herbert will be straight up the inside like a rat up a drain pipe, and so he just sort of has to follow Aidan Hills into the corner in the middle of the road, and then just try and get the run out of the corner, which he almost does. But again, he's only being shown the outside line down towards Old Hall Corner, and Luke Herbert is closing in on him as well. They're almost pushing each other down the pit straight, but Jack Harding just about hanging on, and James Blake Baldwin making a nuisance of himself as well. And, well, Lyndsay said that James Blake Baldwin being involved in this race might cause a spot of bother. He certainly is for Luke Herbert, because he would very much rather it wasn't James Blake Baldwin behind him. Nothing against James Blake Baldwin, but all of the drivers know that he is not backwards in coming forwards. If he sees a chance to gain a place, he doesn't care one bit whether they're championship contenders. He'll go for the gap and he'll try and make the move stick. And Luke Herbert will know that he's going up against one of the most committed racers out on the circuit, and he really can't afford to have any sort of contact that could put him off the road, because of course Luke has already had a few not brilliant results. We think back to the first race of the season at Silverstone, where he came home in 7th position, and because of just how consistent Jack Harding has been this year, a 7th place finish for Luke Herbert is really not a great result. That will count as one of his dropped scores, and you only drop your 2 worst scores, of course, so another bad finish for Luke, and he might have to count it as one of his final scores, and that could be disastrous as far as his championship hopes are concerned. So 9 cars tied together by the shortest piece of string descend upon the Hislop chicane once again, and Luke Herbert again is the man most likely to make a move here, arguably. He's sliding that number 1 car around left, right and centre, trying to find a way ahead of Jack Harding. We're on board with Jack again now, the Northerner, making his way over Clay Hill. In this stunning summer weather that we're enjoying, Oulton Park has never looked better, arguably, and it is really putting on a sensational race. Whoever said that you can't overtake at Oulton Park? This has been a race to prove those doubters wrong, because we've seen so much overtaking and such close racing, and Jack Harding is going for the race lead. There's a gap up the inside line. Aidan Hills is desperately late on the brakes and just about manages to hold on to the race lead, but that was a real chance there for Jack Harding. And I do wonder whether Luke Herbert's presence on his rear bumper maybe made him a bit more circumspect then. In other circumstances, he might have committed to that one a bit more. Through Old Hall they go again, getting into the closing stages now. What has been a fantastic 3rd and final race of the day here for the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. Once again, putting on a huge show for this TCR UK crowd. And as they drop down in towards Cascades once again, it is still Aidan Hills who leads the race, looking for that elusive first victory of the season. The last thing he wants to do, though, is throw away an 8th podium of the season. So if push came to shove and Jack Harding really got up the inside of him, you would have to imagine that Aidan wouldn't want to take too many risks, but at the same time, whilst he's leading the race on a circuit where it is a little bit easier to defend than some others, he's got to try and take this advantage, take this opportunity with both hands. Luke Herbert now starting to become a bit more present in Jack Harding's wing mirrors as they turn through Britons once again, and up over Hilltop, down towards Hislops for another lap. Luke Herbert is right there, right on the tail of Jack Harding. He's got a bit of a gap now as well over James Blake Baldwin behind, albeit temporarily. And so he might just have a bit more free range trying to attack now. He's tried to throw one up the inside here into Knickerbrook a few times. Not on this occasion though, because Jack Harding, look, is latched right onto the tail of Aidan Hills. if Aidan Hills can hang on to win this race, what a way to win your first ever race with the top 2 in the championship, and arguably you could say the top 3 in the championship, because James Blake Baldwin, had it not been for that exclusion, would be right in this championship fight, and they are the 3 drivers who are applying all of the pressure and all of their combined years of Mazda MX-5 racing experience into trying to find a way past Aidan Hills. Luke Herbert taking a risk here, taking a look to the outside line into Lodge Corner. What does James Blake Baldwin do? Well, of course, he goes to the inside and tries to get on the podium. He's out of shape coming through Lodge Corner, and Herbert hangs on, but that was a risky moment there for the reigning champion. Up across the start-finish line they will go, inches apart as we go on to the final lap of the day, and Jack Harding now turns his attention from attack to defence. Yes, he'd like to win the race, but above all else, he has to keep Luke Herbert behind him. Otherwise, Luke is going to potentially move through into the championship lead. Down towards Cascades, Herbert to the outside line, they almost lean on each other, but again, in true MX-5 racing fashion, they leave each other just enough room, millimetres between the rear right wheel of Jack Harding's car and the front left of Luke Herbert's. Back down the Lakeside Straight they go, and Herbert again is looking to the inside line. Had a bit of a run there on Jack Harding, but decided better of it. Through the left-hander, Harding carries all the speed that he can through the corner, takes a nice tight defensive line in towards Shell, but this is being further complicated for Jack by the fact that he is clearly quicker than Aidan Hills, and if he didn't have Luke Herbert and James Blake Baldwin and Simon Baldwin and everybody else putting pressure on him, he would probably be able to challenge for the race lead a little bit more effectively, and so he's sort of getting bottled up here by Aidan Hills, who's doing nothing wrong. Don't get me wrong, Aidan is defending this race lead splendidly, but it's making life very difficult indeed for Jack Harding, who wants to attack. Every ounce of his racing driver instinct is saying, I should attack for the race lead here, but he has to think championship. He has to be mindful of what Luke Herbert is doing behind him, and Luke's got another run going in towards Knickerbrook Corner. Harding jinks over to the right-hand side, in part to try and attack Aidan Hills, but in part as well, I think, to try and defend from Luke Herbert, who in turn has still got the pressure from James Blake Baldwin. Over the hill they go. 2 more corners to go to decide the outcome of race number 3 of the day here at Oulton Park, and who will lead the championship going into the penultimate race meeting at Croft next time out. And it's between these 2 drivers, 2nd and 3rd on the road, Jack Harding and Luke Herbert, and Luke almost got on the inside, then down towards Lodge Corner. 1 more turn to go, and I think that Aidan Hills is home clear. It's all about the fight for 2nd place. Who will lead the championship with 6 more races to go? I think it's going to be Jack Harding who will come home in 2nd place, but Aidan Hills is going to win his first ever race in the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup, and what a way to do it. A fantastic performance from Aidan Hills, who fended off all comers to win the race. Jack Harding is 2nd and will take a 4-point lead into the next round ahead of Luke Herbert, who was 3rd. James Blake Baldwin is 4th, and Simon Baldwin rounds out the top 5. Also in that lead group though were Carl Garnett, Johnny Greensmith, James Harris and Sam Tatler, and they all put on a sensational show. 2 non-starters, Duncan Harris and Darren Stapleton, but remarkably all 22 drivers who started the race got to the end of what was undoubtedly the race of the season.
I'm going to get a cheap shot.
Aidan, I really don't know what more to say than a huge congratulations on your first ever win.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say either, to be honest. It's just this weekend we haven't had enough pace. You know, we've been fast at other places where I deserve to win, and this weekend, to be honest, that other than the moves I did to get into the lead in that race, like, I didn't have the pace at all. You know, I had Jack and Luke all behind me, just on my back bumper all race, and I just white lined it. I just defended for my life really, and I knew that was my best chance to win a race. And just as long as I made no mistakes, it's going to be a win.
Jack, that was really tough out there. You had everyone jumping in the grandstands.
Yeah, it was. Didn't go to plan. All day it's not gone to plan, but you know, it ended up being all right. But we went steaming over the grass at turn 2, and God knows what position I was in, 8th or something like that. And then just came storming back through, and I don't know, I thought I'd be behind Luke, but no, I ended up getting past him, and then I was behind Aidan. Aidan did really well. He just defended, put his car where he needed to do, and I was quite happy settling for 2nd, to be honest, with Luke behind me.
Well, that is it for an eventful weekend, to say the least, here at Oulton Park for the Super Cup. We've had Aidan walk away with his first ever podium, and Jack Harding's managed to stretch a little bit of a lead away from Luke Herbert. So you'll have to come back next time for Croft.